So this video is about you. Hey there, welcome to The Circle. This is the place where we talk about cool stuff that can make a big difference in how you think and feel. We're all about exploring interesting ideas without giving away all the secrets. Stick around for a fun ride of discovery and change. Ready for The Circle? Let's go! It's an opportunity for you to retreat from your life for just one day and to remove the constant stimulation in your external environment that reminds you of who you think you are as a personality. To separate yourself from the people you know, the places you go, and the things that you do at the exact same time every single day. Long enough for us to remind you of what you already know, that you are actually the creator of your life. We will create and explore ideas in a single day. Every time you learn something new, your brain forms new connections. This is how learning works, building new pathways in your brain. After you've interacted with the world, your brain starts to remember and adapt. You then get a chance to use that information, make it your own, and show it. Some people manage to align their actions with their thoughts, stepping into new experiences. These experiences reshape the brain, rearranging more circuits than you might realize. When those neurons fall into place, your brain produces a chemical called a feeling or an emotion. When you feel things like boundless, patient, abundant, or free, your body is learning to understand what your mind knows. Knowledge is for the mind, and experience is for the body. In that moment, you're living out the truth of that idea. You're sending signals to new genes and creating new ways, essentially rewriting your biological program. If you've done it once, you can do it again. Repeating experiences condition your mind and body to work together. After doing something many times, your body knows it, as well as your mind does. It becomes second nature, easy, familiar, a part of who you are. You've practiced it so much that you don't need to consciously think about it. It's now a subconscious program. Our task is to progress from being thinkers to starters to experts, moving from understanding to practice to profound insight. It's about transitioning from the mind to the body to the soul, from contemplation to action to pure existence. We need to learn with our minds, apply with our hands, and understand with our hearts. We possess all the necessary biological and neurological tools for this journey, and this era requires not just knowing, but also understanding how to apply that knowledge. Based on our experiences over the past 5 years of traveling globally, ordinary people like yourself are achieving extraordinary things. They are recovering from serious health issues, creating better opportunities in lives, forging new careers, and healing old emotional wounds that tied them to the past. Additionally, they are having profound, almost indescribable experiences that go beyond language, experiences that take years to comprehend and articulate. And these individuals are just like you. Many individuals wait for a crisis, trauma, illness, or some form of loss before deciding to change their lives. My message has consistently been, why wait? Why wait for a tragedy to prompt a transformation? When you start applying these principles because you understand their effectiveness, it means you have more faith in your future than in your past. Those who take action are more excited about the possibilities ahead than dwelling on their past. They are eager to narrate a story of potential in their future, rather than reliving the emotions and experiences of the past. What's beautiful about all of this is that you don't need to be a monk, priest, rabbi, or have decades of meditation. In fact, it's better if you're not an academic scholar. The simplicity of applying these principles allows people to start experiencing positive results from their efforts. Every person in this room is part of this phenomenon. No one is excluded. Your thoughts have a direct impact on your body. Each thought carries a specific energy or frequency. If you believe that your thoughts influence your body or life to some extent, and considering you have 60 to 70,000 thoughts daily, with 90% of them being the same as the day before, it will result in the same measurable effects in your body. Is that clear? You'll start emitting the same energy and information into your surroundings, creating a repetitive life. In essence, identical thoughts lead to identical choices, which in turn lead to the same behaviors. These consistent behaviors create recurring experiences, and those experiences generate the same feelings and emotions. These very emotions then influence your thoughts again. Your biology, neurocircuitry, neurochemistry, hormones, and even your genetic expression are all linked to how you think, act, and feel. Your personality, formed by how you think, act, and feel, shapes your personal reality. So, if you desire a new life, you must change your personality. This involves examining and altering your habitual thoughts, becoming aware of unconscious behaviors, and adjusting your speech. It also means evaluating emotions tied to your past, as emotions result from past experiences. You must decide if these emotions align with your future goals. For instance, if you aim for wealth, feelings of lack or unworthiness won't fit. Many people attempt to create a new reality while holding on to the same personality, but that approach usually fails. To truly change, you have to transform into a different version of yourself. In neuroscience, the principle is that nerve cells that fire together wire together. If you repeatedly think the same thoughts, make the same choices, exhibit the same behaviors, and create similar experiences, you reinforce specific neural patterns. This repetition conditions your brain and body in a way that becomes familiar, the you feeling. If you've been doing this for, let's say, 25 years, you would likely hardwire your brain into a distinct pattern. That specific pattern, the one hardwired by repeated thoughts and experiences, is known as your identity. By the age of 35, most people have ingrained automatic programs, behaviors, beliefs, and emotional reactions functioning in their subconscious. The initial step towards change involves becoming conscious of these unconscious thoughts. The frontal lobe, which makes up 40% of the brain, allows humans to observe their thinking, actions, and emotions. When you can observe these aspects, you're no longer identified solely with the programmed responses. You become the consciousness observing the program. Meditation, essentially, is about becoming familiar with your thoughts. By becoming conscious of recurring negative thoughts like, I can't, what's wrong with me? It's too hard. I'll never change. I'll never make it. I'm too tired, or nobody loves me. You can prevent them from unconsciously shaping your autonomic nervous system and determining your future. The body, essentially the unconscious mind, doesn't distinguish between an actual experience and an emotion created solely by thought. Consequently, the body lives in the same past experience continuously, without a break, all year round. Yes, indeed. The body continuously receives the same information, leading it to believe it's in a consistent environmental condition. This constant signaling activates the same genes in the same way, and you end up on a path toward a genetic destiny. It's not about doing something wrong. Rather, it's about taking too long because these emotions eventually define you. When someone questions your emotional state, asking why you're angry, bitter, afraid, or in pain, you might respond by recounting the narrative, essentially firing and wiring the same circuits in your brain. This emotional recounting keeps signaling the body into the past, reinforcing your personality based on a feeling. Recent research on memory suggests that approximately 50% of what people recall may not be entirely accurate. Memories are often creative and embellished. When someone shares their narrative, especially one tied to emotionally impactful events, it signifies that they haven't been able to change since that experience. They feel altered by that event. Consequently, they seek out people with similar emotions and energy to validate their addiction to that emotion, engaging in conversations like, I can suffer more than you can. This creates a cycle of agreement and reinforcement. Are you still following? Absolutely. When the body becomes conditioned to the past, the majority of people's biology is anchored in the past. If your thoughts and emotions shape your state of being, and you're consistently thinking the same thoughts that generate the same emotions, signaling the same gene repeatedly, you're essentially wearing out that gene. It's akin to making copies of copies. Eventually, it loses its original detail. Similarly, when you continually select and instruct the same gene, the body starts breaking down because these genes are crucial for physiological functions and structural integrity. For example, if immune cells produce immune proteins and you're consistently living in fear, anger, resentment, or impatience, you're signaling the same gene in the same way. If this persists, it can eventually program the gene, leading to an unhealthy body. It's not a quick process, it happens over time. Some might say, I meditated for 3 days and nothing changed. However, this transformation requires sustained effort and consistency. Exactly. If meditation means becoming familiar with, then you must become more acquainted with the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions of your future than those of your past. Continuing to fire and wire the same circuits in your brain essentially installs them, turning the hardware into a software program. Once this happens, it becomes easier to think in unlimited ways, act like a wealthy person, and cultivate the emotions of your future instead of those from your past. Some individuals engaged in this work have faced incredibly difficult pasts, experiencing abuse and trauma. However, they chose to stop narrating the story of their past and started telling the story of their future. They began believing more in the potential of their future than in the challenges of their past. When people share their challenging pasts with me, I understand that it's a natural tendency, but I always ask them to consider overcoming that past. If they continually talk about their past when feeling those negative emotions, it only brings them back to that past. It's crucial to shift focus and embrace the positive emotions linked to the future. Are you still following along? Absolutely. When you wake up in the morning, your brain tends to linger in the past. If you repeatedly connect to familiar emotions, driving your thoughts and creating a cycle where thoughts and emotions reinforce each other, you are essentially conditioning your body into the past. The body, being the unconscious mind, doesn't distinguish between an actual experience creating an emotion and the emotion you create through thought alone. This means the body lives in the same past experience 24/7, believing it's in the same environmental condition, continuously signaling the same gene in the same way. If this pattern persists over time, you eventually program that gene, leading to potential health issues. It's a process that happens gradually. Some may say, I meditated for 3 days and nothing changed. However, I remind them to consider how long it took to create the existing condition. So, if meditation is about becoming familiar with, you must become more acquainted with the thoughts, behaviors, and emotions of your future than those of your past. Continuously firing and wiring the same circuits in your brain turns the hardware into a software program, making it easier to think in unlimited ways, act like the person you aspire to be, and cultivate the positive emotions associated with your future rather than those from your past. Are you still following along? Absolutely. Many of our students and individuals engaged in this work have faced horrific pasts, including abuse, trauma, and challenging conditions. The transformation begins when they decide to stop recounting the story of their past and instead focus on telling the story of their future. They start believing more in the potential of their future than dwelling on the challenges of their past. When people come to me and share their difficult pasts, I understand that it's a natural inclination. However, I always emphasize the importance of overcoming that past. If they can't find a way to overcome it and continue feeling those negative emotions, they will only talk about their past when those emotions resurface, because those emotions bring them back to the past. On the other hand, when individuals are enjoying a great life, they tend not to talk about their past as much because they are no longer emotionally bound to it. The absence of emotional attachment allows them to focus more on their present positive experiences and future possibilities. Are you still with me? Absolutely. The moment you start feeling emotional, it's an indication that you're back in your past. Now consider this. Various experiments have demonstrated that we emit light and information, confirming that we are electromagnetic beings constantly emitting energy with a message. If you're consistently living with the same energy every day, logically, your life shouldn't change significantly. Let's reason through this. When you're living in fear, anger, or resentment, you're essentially in survival mode because those emotions trigger the stress response. When you activate the stress response, you tap into the invisible field of vital energy around your body, converting it into chemistry and diminishing your energy field. So, when you perceive a threat or encounter an unpredictable or unknown circumstance, you immediately activate the fight or flight nervous system. Thanks for hanging out with us on The Circle today. We hope you had as much fun as we did exploring these awesome ideas. Remember, you're in control of your journey, and we're here to cheer you on. If you liked what you heard, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next adventure. Until next time, take care and keep rocking your awesome self. See you in the next circle.